Good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending our webinar today. Just a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today before we get started. So as a greenhouse owner, it can be hard to navigate emerging technologies, as we know, growing strategies, diverse energy rates and options, and to understand how changes in one part of your greenhouse might have a domino effect on your operations and production. Today's webinar is going to be part of a series of webinars that 360 Energy has been presenting and will continue to be presenting as a trusted independent advisor. Our goal is to keep greenhouse leaders objectively informed of the many changes, which includes risks and opportunities occurring in the energy industry. Our next webinar in the series will actually be on August 26th. It's going to be the Save on Energy retrofit program and agricultural incentives that we're going to be discussing at that point. And we're going to have a speaker that's going to be involved in that's going to be joining us. Today, we're very fortunate to have Ewald de Koning. He is the manager of the Netherlands operations at Laak Orchids. He's going to take us through their sustainability journey. In combination with the business community, research institutions, and universities, Laak Orchids invests in sustainable solutions that help reduce energy consumption, CO2 emissions, and to reduce the waste of water as well. So they're very experienced in those areas, and hopefully have some good lessons for us all. So just a quick note on housekeeping before I turn it over to Ewald. I do have everybody on mute today. We typically keep everybody just muted just so we don't have any interference in the background. I do definitely encourage people to ask questions. We've got a question function in the control panel for today's webinar. So please feel free to ask questions throughout the webinar. Towards the end, Ewald's going to have a bit of time to answer some of these questions. So please do ask questions in the questions function, and we will go through those at the end of the presentation. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ewald to start going through today's presentation. So thank you very much for being here today, Ewald.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. For me, it's already afternoon, few hours from beer time, but I'm glad to tell you a little bit about our sustainable works at Laak. Probably you know us from 2 years ago. We received the International Grower Award because of our sustainability and because of our overall activities. So we're world champion grower. We're quite proud on that. I'm not on this picture, so I was not at that party in Germany. A little bit about Laak. We are a family business. Here you see Richard to the left and Eduard to the right. These are the owners. Their father started this company about 60 years ago, and since 1990 they started growing orchids, all kind of orchids, and it ended up with the Phalaenopsis, which we grow. Some facts and figures about our nurseries in Holland. We have 2 locations. In that 2 locations, we grow about 8 million plants from tissue culture first half year as a young plant, and after that almost 1 year, and then we have the consumer product, as you see in front here at the last phase in the greenhouse. We have more than 200 varieties, all different kinds of forms, lengths, colors. Mostly we grow in 12 centimeter pots, and a few in 9, a few in 7, and a few in 17 centimeter pots. We aim on the European market. 90% is going abroad from Holland. Italy is our most important market. The fars are Moscow, Turkey, and everything what is between us and there. We are in the high end of the market, so we don't have a lot of retail firms. So it's mostly garden center, florist, etc. So it's also with us small orders and not the big lorries full. We think it's important to let us know how we are in the market, how we run our business, not only in the company but also with our relations. Those core values are 5 simple ones. The first one is that we want to do it together, so together with our colleagues, together with our suppliers, together with our customers, together with you. So that's also the reason that I was glad to have this opportunity to tell a little bit about the Laak. Respect for environment, respect for people, respect for your colleagues. That's very important with us. And besides that, we want to be ambitious and innovative. Ambitious that we are never satisfied, and innovative that we want to be the first with new introductions in the market. With those 4, is the 5th one to keep it simple is not the easiest, but now and then it's needed to say, okay, it's not let's keep, it's not the cheapest solutions, but it's the most simple. Let's choose for that. I told you a little bit about assortment. This is the detail of the Phalaenopsis orchid that we grow in a pot plant. We have our own breeding. Whenever you see a cultivar named to a river, like Rhone or Zambezi, or then it's a cultivar of the Laak. Then about our locations, we have 2 locations. The first is the somewhat older one. It's not on the picture here. That is built mostly by the father of Richard and Eduard. It's nearby this location. Is about 2 kilometers. It's here. And this is the head location, Middenweg 23. And it's built in actually 2 phases. This part was the first in 2010, about 88 hectares. A few years later, we built here 4,000 square meter green lighted daylight greenhouse. And a few years ago, we built also this part of the nursery. Partly has two levels. That is this part. On the floor ground, we have the workspace and the stock of the products. And on the first level, it's a greenhouse, and that's here the same. This is 1 hectare of 2 layers, and this is 1.5 hectare. And it's quite. We are in an area where the the soil prices are quite high. We are at the edge of The Hague. This is the city of The Hague. So we have to be very careful with our space. For I saw that mostly are growers, but for the not growers in the audience, a little bit what we do with horticulture, we rebuild nature. At the left, you see how it's in nature our Phalaenopsis is growing, and at the right, how we rebuild that. What you see, the orchids live in a very humidity environment, and we can add a mist fog in the greenhouse to keep it on the right humidity. Of course, temperature is important. The first stage is 29-30 degrees. The first stages of the plant, and of course we need greenhouses to keep the warmth in, to give them the right temperature. The orchids are naturally grown on the trees, so light is important, but they don't get the full straight sunlight, and that's how we also rebuild in the greenhouses. And in winter time, we need artificial light, and in the new greenhouse we have a hybrid system of Santé lights and the LED lights. Also, I said it before, the sunlight, the straight sunlight is too intense, so we have to shade the sunlight. And the last thing, it's the orchids in nature, it's growing in a tree. It doesn't have soil needed, but we have to put something and to keep a little bit water. So we grow the orchid in bark. It's bark from Portugal. And we do also biological treatments to keep all kind of insects out, and we're quite enthusiastic about that. It's the only way to keep it running in the future. Then why do we think sustainability is important? We think, it's our opinion, our vision, and we learned that being sustainable is not a commercial chance. The other way, not being sustainable is a threat. We think the consumers say, okay, I want you to have to do the right way, do your best, the best you can, and that's why we have to do what we can as most as possible, because we don't want that orchids get a bad image, that okay, you don't have that Greenpeace or organizations like that tells, oh, don't buy orchids because they're energy consuming, or they use pesticides, or whatever they can say. So we think it's important to be as sustainable as possible. Then to focus on what we do on sustainable works. First, water. We have orchids need quite clean water with low natrium chloride, so we need rainwater. That's the best way, the best quality for us. And what we do, besides the reuse of irrigation water, what is everywhere done in Holland, what we do is we collect the rainwater in a basin. It's the basin for the 13 hectares is about 7,000 cubic meter. That is not very high rate, But what we do when the basin tends to be full, then we let the over amount infiltrate in the soil, and we have aquifers to do that too. The aquifers are about 30 meters under ground level, and in dry periods we can pump it up again and use it. Now for us, it's the advantage is that we have a larger amount of high quality water available. Besides that, we help to counteract the salination of the soil. We are nearby sea here, and also because of the climate change, the soil is getting saltier. I don't know if that's good English. I apologize for my bad English now and then, but I hope you understand me. I'll do my best. And besides that, we help the government to prevent from local flooding in rainy periods. We are here located in the Westland. It's an area of 5,000 square meter greenhouses. In rainy periods, all the basins are full, and every drip of rainwater is in half an hour in the ditches, and the government has to take care to pump it all away into the sea, because we are 6 meters below sea level here. And now and then it's not going well, and then we have flooding. So the government is taking care to all kind of things to avoid that, and we help them because our basin does not doesn't get full, so we have to put the over amount to the ditches. So we help them in that way. So they are quite happy with us with that. What else you see in this picture is, of course, how we do the irrigation, how we take clean water, put fertilizer in, add a little bit of fresh water, use it in the greenhouse. We collect the over amount of water. We disinfect it with UV radiation and peroxide, and we use it again. When the natrium chloride is too high, we have to get rid of it, and nowadays it's by law we have to purify the wastewater before we can let it go to the sewer system, and that's also with UV and peroxide, and it's to get chemicals like pesticides, insecticides out of the water. Also, you see here a reverse osmosis installation. This water is very clean, and we need it for the fog system. When you use rainwater, you can get bacteria in it, and it gets stuck. When you use water from the grid, it can be contain too much calcium, and then also the nozzles will get stuck. There's a discussion in Holland about the use of reverse osmotic on groundwater, because you take 1 cubic meter out of the soil, you make half cubic meter of very clean water, and all the salt that was in it goes in the other half cubic meter, and you put that again in the soil, so you are salinating the soil, and that's more and more discussion in Holland if that has to not be forbidden. We hope and think that because we put a lot of fresh water into the soil, which we do not take everything out, that we can can compensate with that the salination by the reverse osmotic. Then some things on energy. What we do, especially in the new built greenhouse 3 years ago, we use LED lighting. You saw it. We choose it for a combination of LED and Santé, and the reason is that sometimes we like the heat that the Santé lamps are giving on the leaves, and sometimes we don't, and that's why we have the combination of the two. Also in this greenhouse we have the active ventilation. Here in the top of the greenhouse there are tubes which are blew up with a big fan over here, and the way it's working, that when it's too damp in the greenhouse, humidity is too high, we blew air from outside which has a lower humidity. We blew it in the greenhouse and actively ventilate instead of heating the pipes and putting the windows open, and we can save about 5% on our energy of gas. On the area which is not greenhouse, we have also solar panels. It's easier. You put them on the roof and you get the energy off. On the old greenhouse, the 10 years old greenhouse, we had also almost 5,000 little solar panels, which were above the package of the sunscreens, but unfortunately we had a fire in it for 3 years ago, and we decided to take them off. We were very lucky that the fire was seen very quickly, and the fireworks could get rid of it very quick. But we were very frightened then and decided to take them all off. At the sides we don't have glass anymore. We have here sandwich insulation panels. That gives good insulation and a better stable climate, because always at the sides in a normal greenhouse it's warmer or it's colder, but now it's more equal with us. And on the roof we have double glass windows, which I will explain about later with the greenhouse. I'll show you. And then I come to the daylight greenhouse. In Dutch it's called daglichtkas, and dag means away, and it means so keeping out the light greenhouse, and I'll explain what the principle is. But first, the daylight greenhouse is developed by Technokas. It's a greenhouse builder, and the Wageningen University. It's saving 40 to 50% of our gas usage. But even more important is that it gives a very stable climate for our orchids. We have less differences in humidity and temperature, so it's a very good climate to grow orchids in. The development started already in 2005, and they started with 1 square meter to prove the concept. And after that, it was proven that this principle works. They built 400 meters in the research station in Blijswijk here in Holland, very nearby us, and do tests with all kinds of plants. And also we took our orchids to Blijswijk to see what's happening, and we were quite enthusiastic about the climate and the way that it grows, that we decided to build ourselves a test department. And so in 2013 we built here about 4,000 square meters. We grew a few years with it and were enthusiastic, and we were expanding and decided to build our new greenhouse, 50,000 square meters, with this type of greenhouse. But let me explain what the principle is. The principle is that the sunlight is too intense in summer, and actually also part of the spring and autumn. So what we do, we have to shade the sunlight. What we do with the daylight greenhouse, that we have Fresnel lenses in the south part of the greenhouse roof, and with the lenses, the Fresnel lenses, that's a type of lenses that focus the light in one dimension. So you have a focus beam, and we focus it to in this case in 3 focus beams. And the lenses are not perfect. They do it only for 70%. So 70% of the light is focused on these 3 areas. In this area, there is a black pipe with running water, and the water is becoming, because of the energy is all focused on this, is getting warmer all the way. So principle is we make from too much light, we make warm water. The principle is very easy, but the difficult part is that the Earth is moving around the Sun, so the focus point is moving also. In the morning, we have to make sure that the pipes are here, and it goes with a curve like this every day, and every day is also of the year is also different. So the greenhouse has a mechanism to have always the pipes in the focus line. If it would not be in the focus line, the light will come here in the greenhouse, and it will burn our orchids. How does it look like then in practice? At this side is the south part of the greenhouse. You see here the Fresnel lenses. It is between the double layer of glass. There is plastic lenses in here, and it's a screen with all lines in this direction, making the sunlight comes to here. This is the black house, but because of the intensity of the sunlight, the focus of the sunlight, it's getting lightening up completely white. It is also this, when you put your hands in it, it's quite warm. It's 70 times sun power. What you also see is that because of this mechanism, the greenhouse has to be 2 meters higher than a normal greenhouse. Here are the screens, and this part from to the gutter. I don't know if that is correct English, but it's 2 meters. So in summary, what we do with daylight greenhouse is we harvest energy, and we use the principle to shade against the intensive straight sunlight. Funny is, in wintertime we need the light, and when it's wintertime, it's up from October until March. I can show this here. We put these pipes aside, and the sunlight will come in. It will focus, but afterwards it will spread again, and we have it available for our plants. Then are some other things, because I think there are technical guys also here, some figures about our energy system. The daylight, the greenhouse creates, of course, heat, and when the sun is shining on a good day, then it produces 13 megawatt of water. And that's quite an amount to get rid of. We have discussions about what temperature is best, because when your pumps are not running that hard, that fast, then you can easily get very hot water. But we decided to let the range is best from about 15 degrees up to 35 as maximum. And the reason is that when it's hotter than 35 degrees, then you have a lot of energy loose, because you have hot pipes in top of your greenhouse. So to have a better harvest, it's better to have a lower temperature system. Besides this, we have the coolers in about 45% of our greenhouses. That's the last phase of the orchids, and we have active coolers because we want the greenhouse not to be hotter than 20 degrees. And of course, we also gain a lot of energy with that. The way we get rid of the energy, we do it with the active ventilation. That is already show you. Here is the fans, and at the fans there's some tubes that we can heat up the cold outside air before we blow it in the greenhouse. We have also now 3 co-generators, totally 5.5 megawatt. So we still need gas for the heating, but it also, of course, produces electricity that we need for the artificial light and for the heat pumps. And it produces carbon dioxide, and we clean up the gases from the machine and put it also in the greenhouse. To play all the game of the energy that is taken off from the cooling and the daylight greenhouse, we have some heat pumps to make cool water, and we have 16 aquifers in our nursery. Actually, you see them here. You see the 4 of them. To put in winter time, we take out the warm water, and in summertime we take out the cool water. And on a yearly basis, that has to be equal. And of course, for the daily storage of the energy, and it can be heat or cold, we have 5 buffer tanks, which here you see 4 of them. And in total, we have more than 15,000 square meters of water storage. Then we have still a gas boiler, but it's only for emergency. We do not use that anymore. And besides the carbon dioxide from the co-generators, we buy from the grid carbon dioxide, what is coming from the petrochemical industry at the harbor of Rotterdam. And with all those elements, we can daily do our energy game together with some trade of energy of electricity, and also a little bit on the gas market. To show you what amount of energy we are using on the new location, and which savings we have reached, I've made this table. I don't know if that is English. Apologize again. But in the years from 2000 to 2018, when we didn't have the daylight greenhouse in use, we had a surface of 85,000 square meters, and we had an energy consumption of gas of 70 cubic meters per square meter in 1 year. With the complete new system, with the daylight greenhouse, we had, of course, a larger surface in which we can do the energy game over the complete area, and we realized a gas use of 55 cubic meters. Electricity use has been a little bit lower. That's because of the LED artificial light, so it's in the same range. And after all, we realized in the first year working with the greenhouse, daylight greenhouse, saving of about 30 cubic meters per square meter. And when you calculate it only to the daylight greenhouse, it is a saving of 42%. In this picture, you see the heat pump in that area. This is the new technical department. So also take the opportunity to tell a little bit our growing system. We have in a snapshot, we have a big grade of automation. You see on the picture some examples of that. We have robots to do all kind of jobs. We grow in the greenhouse the plants from up in the first stage in pots standing next to each other, and after 10 weeks we put them in the PGCs, plant growth containers, like you see here an example. And the advantage of the PGC is that we can put more plants on a square meter, so that's also of course energy saving, because you have more efficient use of your greenhouse. Handling is much more easier, because with the robots you can take them up here instead of the plant, and you can put all kind of information carriers you have, because each PGC has an RFID chip underneath, and we put all the information of this plant to that chip, and it can easily read during all kind of processes to grade and mix again the colors. and it gives us also a huge amount of data which we can analyze to make information about from it, and information on varieties, on quality, on growing time, etc., etc. So by the complete system, and it contains in first stage a print on each spot, like you see here, with the unique QR code. Every pot has his own code, so we can follow it all through his life, and it's printed by UV visible paint. So only when you put black light on it, you can read it, or the cameras can read it, of course. When you are interested in more of our techniques, please have a look at YouTube and Google on Laak, and you will find some nice YouTube films. I'd like also to tell you a bit about the Laak Americas. 5 years ago, we started with a partner in Guatemala, a new nursery. This is our partner, and this is the orchid greenhouse that we built there. And yeah, we are growing there also Phalaenopsis for the market. It's a new market for us. The market in Europe is quite full, and we like to expand. And so also for risk management, we decided to start in Guatemala. It's a very good climate. It's quite high in the mountains, so we have cool nights and we have good light, and it's growing quite well. We introduced there the Dutch greenhouses and the Dutch growing methods, and we started quite small, 1.2 hectares, growing consumer products for the local market, and half finished for export to Mexico, to the US, etc. For us, it's also, when we're talking about sustainability, some other way of responsibility for your employees. So we give them training, we give them meals, medical checks and prevention, all kind of things that are in Holland we're used to, that the government is taking care of that. But in Guatemala, it's some different way. You have you are responsible for that as a firm also. This was my last slide. Thank you for your attention. I never did before. It's a little bit strange talking such a long time in your own. So I hope you have some questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Ewald. We have had some questions come in. Just as a reminder for people that might have come into the webinar late, we do have everybody muted, but we do have a questions function on the menu for the webinar. So please feel free to put some in, but we do have some to start off if you're okay for some questions. So the first one is, with the addition of all the technology that you've put into the greenhouse, can you comment on what impact has that had to the cost of each orchid that you send out? Like, is there a big difference? What are the savings looking like for you for that?
The cost of the savings, of course, the greenhouse is a huge investment. The daylight greenhouse itself costs double as compared to a normal conventional greenhouse, but because of the energy savings, and to be honest, we also get paid for each amount of energy that we harvest. There's a subsidiary in Holland. With that, we do not have extra costs of our plants. Of course, the investment and the depreciation, how do you call it? Depreciation is higher, but we have the energy saving and we have the subsidiary on that. So it's on that part, we have even lower cost than traditional greenhouse.
Wow, excellent. So I guess the next question kind of goes along with what you were just saying. There seems to be a really strong partnership in the Netherlands between university, government, and business. Can you comment a little bit on that, like how government and universities kind of help businesses there?
Yes, I can. It's a good relationship. There is a good cooperation of the growers in the cooperation Glastuinbouw Nederland, and they are the counterpart for the government for all kind of research. The government is putting money in that, but also the Dutch growers are putting money, effort, and energy in that. And more you see smaller groups of growers asking for very dedicated research. We are also member of the coöperatie of the Orchids. I don't know what the English term for cooperation is, but it's a foundation of growers working together.
Okay.
And we have the Orchids cooperation, and we put some money in, the government put money in, and together we let Wageningen University do the research. So it's pre-competitive research, which will benefits all. And still in Holland there is a very transparent knowledge sharing culture, and also at the Laak we have that, so that helps to do together the research. And together it's cheaper, but you have also more effort and more knowledge to combine, and you will get to better results.
Excellent. All right. So I've got another question here. So the daylight greenhouse solution that you were talking about, I think it's I don't know that it's widely applied here in Canada. Can you kind of comment if do you know there's a lot of other growers and types of greenhouse crops that have been able to benefit from that kind of solution? And do you...
all in principle all crops that you have to shade in the summer, you can use the principle, because instead of screens or white chalk, you can use the system and harvest the energy. But it's best when you have crops that are demands of high temperatures and not that much sunlight. But certain large range of pot plants can also use this system, but it's not suitable for example, vegetables where you want every piece of sunlight.
Right. Right. Okay. And do you find that there's is there monetary savings, or is it just is it obviously there's energy savings associated with this, but do you find that there's a productivity increase at all with the use of the daylight greenhouse?
What do you mean with productivity? We have.
Do you find that that your plants are bigger, healthier? You can
yes,
produce more.
They are healthier, and we have a little bit faster growth in the greenhouse.
Okay.
So we really see the benefits, and it's because we have less stress conditions compared to the traditional greenhouse, where we have an outside screen, but with very windy weather, you cannot use the outside screen, and then a little bit too much sunlight is getting in. And with the daylight greenhouse, you never have that, because you directly take it away, and never mind the weather outside. So you have a more stable and less peaks and in your climate, and that's for orchids. It's good.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. I actually don't have any further questions, so unless a question pops up in the next few seconds here, I just wanted to thank you very much, Ewald, for your presentation today. Like I said, I think it's there's definitely a lot of features for the greenhouse at Laak that we can definitely take some lessons for here in Canada as well. Some things are definitely a bit different, and definitely something to kind of look at and see if we can make some applications here for Canadian growers. So I just wanted to again thank you very much for your time today. If anybody does have any questions that come up in the next little bit, if you feel free to email us here at 360, we can maybe bug Ewald to get some answers to you to help you out. But yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. So without any further ado, go ahead.
Whenever somebody is at this side of the ocean, feel welcome to visit us. We have an experience center in which we tell our story. So you're welcome.
Excellent. Well, thank you once again, and thanks everybody for your time today and attending. And we're going to look to have the recording of this webinar up on our website in the next few days. But like I said again, feel free to reach out with any questions or comments, and we'll be happy to reply. Thanks again so much, Ewald, for your time today.
Thanks. Have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend, everybody.